How's everybody this great morning? This is the day that the Lord has made. We'll rejoice and we'll be glad in it. Amen?
Amen.
Psalm 118, verse 24. Amen. Just a couple things. In terms of our president signed an executive order regarding gender identity and sexual orientation. I have a copy of the order if you don't believe me. And it's disturbing because I don't think boys and girls belong in the same bathroom. I don't believe that, boys belong on girls' sports teams and vice versa. I don't believe that boys and girls should shower together. And this is sinful nonsense.
Yes, I agree.
And it's sad. And this was signed on January 20th, so this was prepared in advance. I'm sure they didn't come up with all this lingo. This is their agenda, and we need to double up and pray for our leaders and pray for our country, because our country's going in a direction far from God. Matter of fact, I believe we're actually in a post-Christian period. We've said for a long time that we're a Christian nation. I think we're in a post-Christian period because for quite a long time, the church has sat by and did little to nothing when all this nonsense happens. And I encourage you to contact your local leaders and your state leaders and certainly your national leaders. And you can write the White House. Just go to wh.gov and you can send them a message telling them your displeasure. Because if we the people, if we the church don't rise up and tell them where we stand, they will continue to take away our freedoms and take away our privilege and take away the rights we have as Christians. In Proverbs 14:34 it says, righteousness exalts a nation. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. And so let us not forget that we should have righteousness in our homes, we should have righteousness in our communities, and we should have righteousness in our country. And when you have politicians that don't believe in righteousness, and what's very disturbing is President Biden is the second president we've ever had that's a Roman Catholic. Mm-hmm. He claims to be a Roman Catholic, but his values as a governing head of state, the highest office in our land, don't equate to his Catholic. The Catholic Church does not believe in this kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
The Catholic, and he says in interviews that I've listened to, he says, well, this is how I personally feel, but I'm going to govern this way. Mm-hmm. Well, your personal values and your public values have to be consistent. And even more disturbing, and I don't mean to be overly political, but even more disturbing was the statement that the White House put out on Friday, 2 days after his nomination as our president. And I don't know if you know this or not, but Friday marked the 40th anniversary of Roe versus Wade, which legalized abortion in our country. And the statement from the White House was as follows: today marks the 40th anniversary of the Supreme Court's landmark ruling in Roe versus Wade. In the past 4 years, meaning the Trump administration, reproductive health, meaning abortion, including the right to choose, has been under relentless and extreme attack. And he says, we're deeply committed to making sure that everyone has access to care, including reproductive health care, code word abortion. It says, regardless of their income, race, zip code, health insurance status, or even immigration status. The Biden administration is committing to codifying Roe versus Wade, meaning we fully support Roe versus Wade, and we will appoint judges that respect the foundational procedures like Roe. So what he's saying is we're going to appoint judges that are supporting the position of abortion, period. And it goes on. And it says, the Biden-Harris administration begins this critical moment. Now is the time to rededicate ourselves to this. If you don't believe me, it's an official statement from the White House on the White House website. Go to wh.gov and you can find it for yourself. This is troubling to me as a Christian. Biden claims to be a Catholic. Catholics, they believe in the sanctity of life, from the moment of conception to the moment of natural death. We have 2 states now that provide for birthday abortions, Illinois and New York, meaning you can murder a baby at 9 months and call it abortion and it's no problem. Or you can deliver the baby the same day and it's a fully functioning, fully formed human being, 9 months old. Our governor in Michigan wants that same legislation passed in Michigan, where you can have birthday abortions. Fully formed, 9 months old babies, it doesn't matter. Life doesn't start until you have breath, which is nonsense. Life begins at conception. The choice that's made is the choice before intercourse, because everybody knows that when you have sex and when you're engaged in intercourse, there's a good probability that there's going to be conception. And that's where the choice is made. The choice isn't made to end life. And if you want to leave this church over this position, go right ahead. Because I stand for righteousness, I stand for God, and I stand for godly values. And if you have a problem with that, you know, I don't know where you should stand, but I know where I stand. I stand on the side of God, and I stand on the side of righteousness. And we need to double up, and instead of being passive, we need to tell our elected leaders where we, the people of God, stand.
Amen.
And you know, we just can't sit on our hands and pretend like everything's okay, because everything's not okay. And I see by these early actions of this administration that it's not okay. And I didn't vote for this nonsense, and I don't like this nonsense in my country. And not only do they want to support abortion in America, but they want the Mexico Compact, which will provide American money for abortion education and provide abortions any place in the world. And that was all done away with under the Trump administration. And as they said, in the past 4 years, reproductive health care, including the right to choose, has been under relentless and extreme attack. Well, I thank God for President Trump for doing that. Now they've wiped away those restrictions, and they want to bring back, you know, anything. It's interesting because they even want to dilute the Supreme Court by adding multiple justices to the Supreme Court. We now have 9 justices. The Supreme Court has a 4-5 versus 3 sort of conservative bent, but they want to stock the court with more justices to dilute the conservative nature that presently exists in our Supreme Court. You know, that's wrong too. They tried that experiment once before under a previous president. It didn't work. And so we have 9 Supreme Court justices. Thankfully, our Supreme Court right now has a conservative bent, a godly bent. The Chief Justice, Justice Roberts, swings back and forth. Don't know exactly where he stands on some issues, but you know, we need to pray for our nation and pray for the righteousness, that righteousness exalts a nation and sin is a reproach to any people. If we don't say something, if we don't speak up, you know, the blood of more than 60 million babies for 48 years of unrestricted abortion is not only on the hands of the people that have provided abortions and received abortions, but it's on all of our hands. Especially if American taxpayer dollars are used to support abortion around the world. And I don't promote abortion. Like I said, the choice is made before you engage in intercourse. It's not made once you've created life. And if that bothers you, then you're not on God's side, and you might as well not be part of this, because when this is Sanctity of Life Month, by the way, with Roe versus Wade, And it's interesting because just a couple days before this, President Trump said that the 22nd of January was Sanctity of Life Day. And on the same day, the White House, under the new administration, releases this nonsense that they want to expand reproductive health care, meaning abortions. And after the president, who was just in the White House, and I'm not saying I like everything that President Trump said or did, I'm not saying that at all, but he did. He was a strong advocate for the church. He was a strong advocate for religious rights and religious freedoms, and he certainly was one of the strongest advocates we've ever had for the sanctity of life and for the life of the unborn. Life begins at conception, and anybody who has any half a scientific brain knows that life begins when the seed meets the egg, and that's the beginning of life. It's just not possible any other way, and you know, to wipe out more than 60 million lives is a travesty. And the blood of those precious little children is on all of our hands. Amen?
Amen.
Well, I'm continuing.